And we are in line 2. Who can utter the mighty acts of the Lord? Or who can declare all his praise? And he who does righteousness at all times. Remember me, O Lord, with the favor you have toward your people. O visit me with your salvation, that I may see the benefit of your chosen ones, that I may rejoice in the gladness of your nation, that I may glory with your inheritance. And so let's go ahead and elaborate, starting at line 2. Who can utter the mighty acts of the Lord, or who can express the mighty acts of the Lord, or can declare all his praise? Who can do that? And then it says in 3, blessed are those who keep justice, and he who does righteousness at all times. And so remember those that justice, or keeping the judgments of God. We're blessed when we do that. And so that sends us to Psalm 15:2. That says, he who walks uprightly and works righteousness and speaks the truth in his heart. All right, and so that's part of David is describing the characteristics of the godly. And so, and that is important. And so, and also it sends us to Galatians 6:9. We're going to be all over with this psalm here. Because remember, the theme of it is we have sinned. And so, and that's in the Old Testament and the New Testament. So, Galatians 6:9, that says, and let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. And that is so important, for us not to give up from doing good. And so many times when we see people doing evil things and getting away with it, that makes us lax in what we need to do, and probably hang our heads and say, what is it worth? Or why should I continue to live for God? Why should I continue to do the right things when other people are doing bad things and getting away with it? Hey, we're not living our lives based upon other people. We're living our lives based upon what Jesus has done for us and what Jesus is leading us to do. And nobody didn't die on the cross for you but Jesus. And so, and God has risen him from the grave, or raised him up from the grave, to allow us to be able to conquer death, hell, and the grave, and sin. And so we're living for Jesus. We're not living for the world. We're not trying to please the world. And even if you have people who are so-called Christians doing things that they shouldn't be doing, you don't use it as an excuse to where they're doing it. No, because we all have to give an account to God for whatever we do in and through our bodies, whether good or bad. Even the things that we say, whether good and bad, we have to give an account to God for that. And even Jesus said that. So it sends us to 1 Corinthians 15:58. That says, therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Our labor is not in vain in the Lord. It clearly is not. Romans 12:13. That says, distributing to the needs of the saints, given to hospitality, or pursuing hospitality. All right, so it's not going to hurt us by living for God. It's not going to hurt us, and doing the right things, and not be worrying about what other people are doing and not doing. So let's see, going back to Psalm 106. Let's see. Let me make sure I covered everything. Okay. Blessed are those who keep justice, and he who does righteousness at all times. It did not say sometimes. It says righteousness at all times, right choiceness, doing the things that are right at all times, not just when it's just convenient, not just when somebody's looking at you. At all times, whether people are looking at you or not, but we already know that God is always looking at us. And so he know when we're righteous at all times. I mean, there's no excuses when it comes down to, to living for God. None. 4, remember me, O Lord, with the favor you have toward your people. Oh, visit me with your salvation. And that's important. So now the psalmist is asking God to remember him with the favor that he has toward his people. And so his people are the Israelites. And he's asking him, look on me just like that. Because God did have a lot of favor on the Israelites because he dealt with them even though they kept going against him, even though they kept murmuring and complaining and grumbling and all that other stuff. He still had favor towards them. All right. And so we're going to pause there and we'll pick it up in our next segment.